One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them.
Had to wear the Kronk merch. Shout out Kronk. So first session is strength. We're basically going to be doing some explosive weights. High intensity, short amount of time. We're working on our sprint systems.
Well, if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute.
Anthony Joshua moves with steady focus as he trains for his showdown with Jake Paul, each session carrying strength work, movement drills, and a quiet confidence as he sharpens himself for battle. Jake Paul pushes seriously on his side too, trying to prove he can stand across from a true top-level fighter. The build-up captures both men grinding hard, stirring curiosity about how this unusual and talked matchup will unfold.
Today. One thing I knew, he was a hard worker. Second thing I knew, genetically he's very gifted, but I knew after the evaluation we had some work to do. Now I've seen his body already evolve into something totally different. I've seen his conditioning evolve into something different, and more importantly, his understanding of his body and why he's doing things the way he's doing them. That's the most important evolution that I've seen.
Anthony Joshua moves with deep confidence inside his camp, knowing he carries the clear edge over Jake Paul. Still, that belief drives him harder each day, focused on making a statement. His mission stays simple: step into the ring, take control, and silence the noise and chaos coming from Jake.
The timing on it, that's all that matters.
Because early on, if you look for power, you waste energy, then that power evaporates. When they're tired, you ain't got the power to take them out, so you've got to open up in the gap for no reason. So just relax, flow.
Just pop off
Good
that
feet,
reach.
you were saying.
Just pop off that reach. And any time you move, that should be that, that should be that, yeah? And then the control's down the middle, all right?
Yeah. That's what
Control, smooth, relax, relax, relax. Last minute, mate, that'll do you then. Uppercut. Good. Right hand. Good, good, good. Left hook high. Good. Uppercut high. And again.
Eddie Hearn shares that the enormous financial offer set before Anthony Joshua is simply too tempting enough to refuse, especially at this point in his career. Joshua has already accomplished nearly everything a heavyweight could accomplish. So, choosing a high-paying showdown becomes a strategic decision rather than a desperate move. Hearn emphasizes that prize fighting has always been about money as well as legacy. And when a fighter receives a huge figure for a match he can manage without taking unnecessary danger, it becomes a practical call. The promoter insists that Joshua is not doing anything unusual or wrong by accepting it. Instead, he is being thoughtful about the chances available. Hearn notes turning away easy money when it matches with training, timing, and overall career plans is something no fighter would realistically choose. In his eyes, Jake Paul offering such a massive purse has opened a path Joshua is naturally moving through because boxing is also a business where major offers deserve to be taken seriously.
Today by the ring by Mike Coppinger, that one's in the works and looking likely for December. What can you tell me?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, there has been conversations, obviously. I think it comes down to how true, they are. Jake Paul is that he actually wants to fight. I mean, he's a madman if he wants to fight. But for some reason, and he thinks he can beat AJ. And I have to be honest, we were going to have a run out in December, over 8 rounds against a bloke you've never heard of. And we may end up having a run out against Jake Paul for a career high payday. I don't see how we can turn it down.
When I asked you about it a couple of days ago, you said that at that time you never really got into the financials. Have those been discussed now? Have you discussed the financial element?
Yeah, there has been some conversations around that, and it is, it's a huge amount of money. And I think AJ would be mad if he didn't do it, and I think he will do it if Jake Paul is genuine. We may wake up tomorrow with these people and they've announced another fight. Honestly, anything could happen. So I still can't get my head around the fact that this guy wants to challenge AJ. Listen, respect to him if it's true, but we shall see.
To end on that note, I spoke to Alfie Sharman earlier. He said that himself or DAZN have had no conversations about AJ potentially taking that fight. Obviously, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. What's the situation with regards to that? Because I know they'd want it.
Apparently the fight's done. Obviously, it's not done because those conversations have to take place. I'm very confident that I can have some positive conversations with DAZN. Obviously, we'll be on a clock, but it's a 50-50.
Last one from me. I saw Chris McKenna tweeted that Anthony Joshua currently doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence. Obviously, it's not unusual for someone who isn't fighting currently and he's inactive to let it run out. But he'd have to apply for one to face Jake Paul again. and then they'd have to approve a fight. Do you think that'd be a similar?
Experts explain that Joshua's resume already carries battles with some of the most dangerous heavyweights of this era. Even after the 14-month break from competition, they argue that the experience gap between him and Jake Paul remains enormous. They describe how Joshua spent years meeting champions, punchers, and elite athletes who pushed him in ways social media-driven fighters have never experienced. Although inactivity can influence any boxer, the analysts still believe Joshua's fundamentals, power, reach, and boxing intelligence give him a commanding advantage over someone still developing the craft. They also mention that Joshua's earlier defeat does not lessen his standing here because the quality of opposition he faced is far beyond what Jake Paul has encountered. Their broader view is that Joshua's skills, even after time away, are more than enough to control the fight and truly dominate whenever he wants.
Wrong, right? And just to clarify, I don't class Otto Wallin as a very competitive fight. Every competitive fight that AJ is in from now until the end of his career and has been in for the last few years, I believe has taken something out of him. Every time he's in a competitive fight, even when he's won, and I'm not saying taken out of him to the extent where he's no longer a good fighter, no longer can do anything, but every single one has taken one out of him. So let's say, for example, you go down the Tony Yoka route and you can sell it as the 2 Olympic gold medalists and whatever. It's a lose-lose, mate. You're expected to knock him out. If you don't, then you go the distance. I think that's going to take something out of you. I actually think that this could be better prep for a Tyson Fury fight. Not just
mentally as well, because he smokes him and it looks great, and then he's confident.
This is what I'm saying, right? Not just from a stylistic boxing standpoint, but from the mental standpoint of the fact that if you go in there and you smoke Jake Paul, straight away, all of a sudden, it's headline news, it's massive, and as well as that, you're coming in off the back of something that's impressive, right? We all felt like the Francis Ngannou performance was really impressive, but it wasn't followed up with an impressive performance. So it doesn't actually determine whether or not...
This is worse. This is worse than that. I don't know what you're thinking, Lawrence, but the Ngannou one, you could at least say heavyweight. You could say that his pedigree. So we didn't really... While he was coming from a different kind of method of fighting, end of the day, he's still a champion. We're talking about Jake Paul, guys.
Do you know what's mad? Can I just add something in before Loza jumps in? There are Americans, and I've heard them in the last 24 hours, giving Jake Paul a better chance than Francis Ngannou, saying he has the boxing experience. Francis Ngannou didn't have enough boxing experience. Because that's how Americans view this whole thing.
Well, no, Francis Ngannou did have more boxing experience than Jake Paul.
Well, yeah. But that's what they're saying is Francis Ngannou had 1 fight, Jake Paul's had 10, 12.
10 rounds, and you little say I'm licking his ass. 10 rounds of Tyson Fury, will gain you more experience than everything Jake Paul has.
Adam Catterall doesn't hold back as he criticizes the decision to make this a sanctioned fight rather than an exhibition. He warns that turning it into a full competitive bout puts Jake Paul in real danger because Joshua's sheer power is unlike anything Paul has ever faced. Catterall points out that exhibitions allow room for safety and controlled pacing, a buffer that disappears in a legitimate fight. He fears Paul may underestimate just how brutal a heavyweight punch can be, especially from someone with Joshua's size, skill, and history. He questions if the thrill of entertainment should ever outweigh fighter safety and argues this matchup crosses into hazardous territory. His cautionary note is clear: fans may cheer for the spectacle, but stepping into the ring with a bona fide former world champion under official rules is a completely different world than YouTube-level bouts.
Over a year.
Yeah.
Brutal knockout against Dubois.
Yeah.
Not the same AJ maybe of the past. He's 36. He's got a chance to earn £70 million, maybe to add to the 150 he's already got. Why wouldn't he do it? Because why would he want to maybe for 5 or 10 million fight a Fabio Wardley who's dangerous, Itoma who's dangerous? Surely from an AJ point of view, it makes sense.
Makes sense. From any fighter's point of view, it makes sense because you're in... Listen, belts don't pay your mortgage, do they? And I know he's got a lot of dough anyway, but 70 million... If someone's going to throw you 70 million quid to fight a lad that struggled and lost to Tommy Fury, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Yep.
So from AJ's point of view, I completely get that. From Jake Paul's point of view, you're leveraging your audience in the world of boxing and making a ton of cash fighting the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. Mate, most boxing fans would bite your hand off at that opportunity, especially if you're throwing 70 million quid in the pot as well. I've no problem with the promoters. My problem is is that it can't be a legitimate fight. Let's be dead honest about this, right?
Eddie Hearn said it will be.
Listen, there is no commission on the planet that can authorise that fight. It's a 2-time unified heavyweight world champion, still in his athletic prime. You just said he's 36. We're not talking Mike Tyson age of 50-odd here now, are we? Olympic gold medalist. He's had 13 world title fights as AJ. 13 of them against the very best guys.
And could take his head off.
Like he done to Ngannou.
It is dangerous.
Yeah.
It is absolutely dangerous. Like I've just said, Jake Paul struggled with Tommy Fury. The levels between these two guys are ridiculous. The commissions cannot sanction that as a legitimate fight. There has to be a rule change. It has to be an exhibition. And then you can have a little bit of a move.
Hold on, Gab. Let's go back to proper boxing. I'm with Cats here. You know, this is ridiculous.
Big story, though.
Oh, listen, it's because it's AJ, because it's Jake Paul, it's going to do numbers and capture people's eyes, right? But there's
Experts note that countless fans have been waiting years to witness Joshua face Tyson Fury, a clash teased and debated endlessly. They explain that people feel puzzled seeing Joshua step into the ring with Jake Paul instead of chasing the long-awaited heavyweight showdown. Analysts point out that boxing politics, contract negotiations, and timing have all made the Fury fight nearly impossible to finalize. By contrast, the Jake Paul matchup was simple to arrange and offered an immediate financial reward. They stress that while fans may feel frustrated, Joshua is choosing the path that makes sense for him right now. Even though the Fury fight remains the ultimate dream, the business side of boxing often guides fighters into unexpected directions. Chisora adds a stark warning about the level of damage Joshua can deliver with a clean shot, asserting that if he lands properly, the fight could be over instantly. He emphasizes that Paul has never faced that kind of power, highlighting the risks and realities of the sport when size and experience differ so greatly.
Joshua's next fight in the coming days, and now it looks very much like it's going to be Jake Paul, the controversial figure. Whatever you think about him, he makes a lot of money, huge views, sells fights, but he was supposed to fight Gervonta Davis. That is not happening, and now he's potentially facing one of the biggest names in heavyweight boxing. Whenever you mention the name Anthony Joshua, people are interested, and of course the fight people still want to see is Anthony Joshua against Tyson Fury, and that's the dream fight which Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren and Turki Al-Sheikh are trying to make next year. But Eddie Hearn has said we need Anthony Joshua back in that ring. He's not been in the ring since losing to Daniel Dubois in devastating fashion at Wembley Stadium last year. But if you'd have said that time ago that his next fight would be Jake Paul, not a single person on this planet would believe me. But it does look like now that Anthony Joshua, the former world champion, is about to face Jake Paul in a month's time.
Mate, it's a great thing, so we can just shut that Jake Paul nonsense away. AJ's going to knock him out.
Jake, would it be similar, do you think, to the way AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou? Because Eddie Hearn's just said about the rage maybe AJ has.
It'll be worse. It'll be worse. It'll be worse.
1 round?
1 round. But if he goes past 3 rounds, we don't know what's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If AJ goes in there trying to mess around, trying to show his boxing skills, nah. He's going to go in there and light him out. That's what we want.
Yeah. I mean, is it something you'd love to see as well? I know, I mean, you've known AJ for a while.
We're all going to be tuning in to watch it. That is it. There's nothing else. December, before Christmas.
Tommy Fury reacts by reflecting on his own experience against Jake Paul and the vastly different challenge Joshua represents. He explains that if he could get the better of Paul, then Joshua, a much stronger and far more accomplished fighter, would face no difficulty at all. Fury emphasizes that this matchup isn't just about skill comparison, but about the different tiers within the sport. He feels Paul is stepping into territory he isn't ready for, and that Joshua's sheer physical presence will pose problems from the very first moment. Tommy Fury reiterates his confidence in Joshua's ability to dominate. He shares how facing Paul gave him a clear view of Paul's strengths and weaknesses, and based on that, he is certain Joshua would manage the fight effortlessly. Fury highlights that Joshua's size, technical foundation, and power exist on a completely different level, leaving no scenario where Paul could compete for long without being overwhelmed.
I can beat Jake Paul. Excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden, he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on. Like, you can't be serious. You can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So...
Allen underscores his earlier warnings, insisting this isn't a fight Paul can approach casually. He points out how Joshua's timing and raw power could change everything in an instant, and that Paul might not be prepared for the relentless intensity an elite heavyweight brings. Allen explains that the moment Joshua begins to apply pressure, the entire fight could swing dramatically, emphasizing the very real physical risks inherent in such a starkly mismatched contest.
Paul lost to Tommy Fury. Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him. I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect from when he fought Ngannou? Did you lose respect for Fury when he fought Ngannou?
Ngannou's a serious fighting man. World champion of the mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion with Anthony Joshua, so why would you put Jake Paul in there? Just because he's a superstar, whatever. I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it don't.
David Hay reflects on the unpredictable nature of boxing, cautioning that even though Joshua enters as the favorite, anything can unfold once the bell rings. He recognizes the risks Paul faces but reminds everyone that no fighter should ever underestimate an opponent, no matter their experience. Hay emphasizes that Joshua must remain focused and avoid assuming the fight will be effortless, because in boxing, surprises always lurk. He continues, noting that while Joshua may be older, he still possesses strength and technical skill. Hay stresses that Joshua hasn't reached the decline seen in some veteran fighters, meaning he still holds all the tools needed to pose serious challenges for Jake Paul. He believes that if Joshua maintains discipline and composure, his superiority will quickly become evident, and the fight will showcase the stark contrast between a battle-hardened heavyweight and a developing crossover boxer stepping into the ring.
It was only a couple of months ago that we were told it was really close, and then it was Jake and Tank, and now that's off for other reasons. Your initial reaction to the fact that December Miami might be on?
Yeah, jumping from Gervonta Davis all the way up to Anthony Joshua seems absurd. It doesn't seem like it's a reality.
Seems very Jake Paul.
It seems, but you know, sometimes these crazy things. Who would have ever thought Francis Ngannou would get a shot against Tyson Fury? When we first started talking about it, it's like that's never going to happen. And when it did, we saw Tyson Fury have a very, very tough night, get knocked down and scrape through on points. Anything's possible in boxing. I think the chances of Jake Paul beating Anthony Joshua, I don't know. He's got a very, very low chance. I can't see any way that Jake Paul can win a boxing match with 10, 12-ounce gloves on with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, you know, world champion, silver medalist, Olympic gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champion. He's a top 10, top 5 in some people's arguments, heavyweight, and he hasn't gone that far over the hill. He's not Mike Tyson, nearly 60 years old. I can't see it happening, but if it can happen and AJ wants it, then obviously it's going to be a massive, massive payday as well as a massive spectacle. It would be an absolute crush box office numbers, and unfortunately for Jake, that will be potentially his last fight in boxing if that first bell rings.
I know your friend Derek had a few things to say about it last night, and he said AJ's got 3 rounds, and that's not that if it goes past 3, AJ's going to lose, but if it goes past 3, his quote was, people are going to go, what are you doing?
It depends how
he can't go past 3.
It depends how he goes past 3 rounds. He could go out there and play with him and soften him up and make him look silly, or he could go out there, try and knock him out in the first round.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned and don't miss what comes next.